Hello and welcome, PocketWatch here, and it's about time for a new series on the channel, but actually also the old one, because we're back to House in Fata Morgana, but this time we're going to start a Requiem for Innocence. For some, it seems it's to be a peak. It's apparently better than the second half of the original game. I don't know if this is even like sequel, prequel, what to expect. I can see Morgana and Jacopo here, so maybe some backstory. But yeah. Anyway, I don't think we are going to be on schedule yet with 2 episodes per week. I'm still kind of not feeling ready to have episodes on schedule because some stuff is happening, but yeah, we're like slowly back. That's why I'm recording, and it's going to be the first episode. Let's start. Let's go. The Requiem for Innocence. Why do I have like... Oh. The Requiem of Innocence contains like different things? Well, anyway, we go with this, I guess. What was that? Oh. That hangs in airspeed. The eye, you can see. We have like opening actually. Tale that was lost in time when the witch was not yet a witch. Come with them to revisit this tale to see exactly how their hope and dreams came crumbling down. Oh, this is going to be about Jacopo and Morgana. Oh? Actual opening? Ooh, I like this shot. Okay. Okay, this is actually great. Jacopo. Maria is going to be here. Okay, so this is going to be actually backstory. Oh. I don't know what happened. Seren. Who? Right, the spirited girl. Okay. Yeah. Morgana. Gratien. Okay. Jesus. Oh, that's the Lord. Oh, you piece of Odilon. Okay. So many new characters. Imeon. Huh. Oh, this is when he's been like putting ointment on her face. We remember that. One day I will show you the word. Yeah, this is what happened in the original game. Yeah, he never finished that sentence, yeah. Oh, that was her sentence, I don't remember. Oh, a key in blood. Give me speed, you Lord, my faith. My spirit faileth. Okay. Turn me, Lord, from mine enemies. To hide. Teach me thy Lord will. Yeah, this is something that Morgana would chant basically, right? Because she's like considering herself as the daughter of God, basically. I'm the servant. Yeah, sounds okay. Okay, so we started with Barnier. So Barnier is the Lord, the bad one, right? I mean, the worst one. The one with the criminal sabbats. Okay. Cheers! Saint's blood! And good fortune to all. Oh, Jesus! Oh! Not safe, I wanted... Yeah, like this. Jesus! That goes drastic from the beginning. We knew she was like bound to the like floor during the Sabbats and stuff, but we never got like actual get to see how the fight that will look and stuff. Jesus. Voices. So many voices. Lightning. Laughing. 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 Was this the 10th such party? The 20th? I no longer had an idea. The Lord guests merely drank of my blood. My father had not blessed me with his miracle. So wealthy nobles could feed their goblets with it. She's like bleeding to death on this. Jesus! That's... Oh my god. My blood was for the poor, for the infirm and the destitute. Why I'm here? Why I'm not doing my father's work? Also, that sound of chains been very, very loud. Sound effect volume. Let's just make it a bit lower than music, maybe. Like slightly. Or at the same. Okay. With each passing moment, my body grew colder and colder, while a mad fiery favor spread among the partygoers. Father, it hurts. My soul hurt far more than my body. It felt like it was cracked in a dozen places, about to shatter. Again and again, I've told myself it was a trial, that God was simply testing me. But I don't think I could bear it much longer. Oh, what the hell was that? A horrible black miasma spilled from the wounds of my flesh, filling the room. What was that flash? It was probably an illusion, something only I could see. Oh, again! The miasma soon began consuming my spirit. All my life I spent telling myself to be pure, just, righteous, and all of that was corroding away, ripping me asunder. Father, O Lord, all thy mercy cut off mine enemies. I cannot see what is flashing there, and destroy all them that afflict my soul. For I am thy servant. I am thy servant. Please, O Father, deliver unto those sinners thy holy judgment. It's like, what is that? I cannot cast them down into the depths of hell. For the sins they would commit against thy faithful servant. Okay, it's just like a filter. Black and red, okay. Disguised as the prayer, I curse them. Disguised as the prayer, I curse them. For the first time in my life, I wish someone ill. I did what a saint, what a daughter of God never must do. And in that moment, I committed a sin greater than anyone else in that room. Oh. Oh, and... Right! In the original game, that was as well a thing. Like, suddenly they saw that her face changed or something. Oh, so her face was like the effect of the curse. The girl looked at her face and began to hear panicking voices rising up around the hall. I thought it's because they like scarred her because like taking blood and everything. I mean, probably realistically that would happen, but we just have visualization of this that it's apparently a curse or something. Actually, okay, magic works, I guess. Yeah, curses and witches are actually a thing in Fata Morgana. It's a fantasy. So, yeah, I would just go with her face change is actually a curse. It's like showing that she's no longer a pure saint that she used to be, and she cursed someone. This is interesting. We never get to know that. We just know like, oh, suddenly her face changed? Why? We never get to know. It's like they suddenly just realized like, hey, we cut them to her too much or something. I began to hear panicking voices rising up around the hall. However, I was completely oblivious to the chaos of the unrest. In fact, I assumed that perhaps God had heard my wish and struck down some of the partygoers. The Lord marched over to where I sat in chains, grabbed me by the hair and yanking my head up. In his other hand, he held a sword. A disgusted grimace was scraped in his face, as though he was looking down the filthiest thing in the world. You're a damned witch wearing a saint's skin. And that was when the revolution started and he never did get to actually cut her off. Yeah, that's Jacopo. In times when he's been actually a hero instead of the god fucking damn it Jacopo. Oh, I like this soundtrack. Ooh. Yeah. This is worse than I expected. The stench of rotting flesh hung in the air. Corpses were strewn about the room in varying states of decay. Blood pooled on the floor, black and thick as mud. An eyeball hung loose from one body, how decomposed and about as much as a liquid as it was a solid. Also, to be honest, I didn't check how long is Innocence for Requiem. Maybe I should just actually record this. Like, what if this is just like 3 or like 6 hours? I assumed it's like 20 or something? But maybe I'm wrong. I'm going to check probably if this is long or not. I don't know. On many, white bone was visible through patches of flesh that had rotted away entirely. Some had been worked to death. Others died of the number of diseases. And they were the lucky ones. Several bodies. Several bodies bore stab wounds from head to toe. Others looked like someone had tried to rip them in two. Some had been burned until their entire bodies shriveled, and some uncovered in blisters. There was no shortage of people who had obviously been tortured. Though the man on the other end of the torture, the Lord Barnier, thought of it as a more of leisure activity. The Lord was spoken of in whispers as a second coming of the great tyrant of old, though it wasn't until I snuck into his manor, and saw it for myself that I truly understood how accurate it was. He was a dumb psychopath. Yeah, kinda. I apologize that I couldn't make it in time to save you all too. I'm hardly a religious man, but for you, I think I can spare a prayer. Rest in peace. I'm not myself today. I mean, yeah, you see like hell basically right in front of you that you never saw before. But I suppose that shouldn't be surprised considering what today is, yeah. I wonder if that girl from the other day is among the dead. Oh no, she's way worse. No, I need to stay focused. If this goes south, I will be the one joining this pile of bodies. God, I'm starting to get a little nervous. Ah, don't go weak in the knees now, Jacopo. How can you ever expect it to go out into the world if you can't even keep yourself together or for something as straightforward as this? I can do this, no problem. Let's start ourselves a revolt. It all began a little over 2 weeks earlier. The local Lord Iron-Fisted rule was destroying the commoners, and this went doubly for those living in poverty who were barely scraping by before taxes. You could hardly take 3 steps out into slums without hearing someone curse the Lord. I have no idea who first proposed the plan. Everything came together so smoothly, so quickly, it's almost a blur. It started as the everyday litany of complaints heard back and forth between the usual crew of young, indignant men in the pub soon escalated, ballooning into a full-fledged plot to strike back. He treats us like dog shit. We are the ones working his goddamn land. If the bastard was coming. Over the next few days, word of the plot spread through the slums, and the number of volunteers grew at an impressive pace. Yep, that's what you get from oppressing people like that. Like, they work for you and you just like treat them as slaves. And even worse. And the more people we had on board, the more realistic it all started to become. While the original plan amounted to charging in the headlong with whatever weapons we could scorch together, it quickly evolved into a more sensible scheme to infiltrate the Lord's manor and free his slaves. It was no secret that the Lord was purchasing far more slaves than he should have any reasonable use for. What we didn't know was what he did with the slaves. That the banquets he loved to throw were actually sick, sadistic torture parties. The best we could do was infer the living conditions were less than ideal, with the fact that the Lord kept acquiring more. And while the plan to free the Lord's slaves was ultimately rooted in the righteous desire, I would be lying if I said everyone's intentions were so pure. We wanted to right the injustice, absolutely, but the prevailing desire was for vengeance, to give the Lord a little comeuppance? What does it mean? I don't know this word. Like, I mean, I can understand like from like context of the sentence, I guess, what that may mean, but I never heard this word. Part of it was also calculated that it would be advantageous for it to look like a slave revolt rather than the civilian uprising. If we struck from outside, we were liable to bring the Lord's wrath down upon more than just a handful of us involved. Yeah, he would be like, there must be a head, like, you know, mastermind behind this somewhere in the slums. He wouldn't think that the one that invaded is the mastermind, so he would oppress them even more. But if the blow came from the inside, he couldn't blame us. Secondly, the Lord Mansion sat atop a hill, which meant his soldiers had the advantage of terrain. It would be nigh impossible for a band of lowly, ill-equipped peasants to break through his defenses, who certainly didn't have the money to hire mercenaries. No amount of righteousness anger was getting us anywhere near the manor. On the other hand, quietly getting one person inside to steer the pot was far more feasible. So ultimately, freeing the slaves was the means to an end. It was the best chance to deal the Lord the real blow. Also, infiltrating as the slave, like, takes a lot of gut, if you think about this. Like, if you know that he's, like, taking more slaves that he can, like, actually use, that's suspicious. And if you want to enter there as a slave, then you have no idea. You could be dead next day, basically. That's a huge risk. So I guess like props to Jacopo for volunteering to this. Of course, that didn't mean we wouldn't save as many people as we could, nor did it mean it would be easy to pull off, or that any of us would make it out alive. That's a big hassle. The plan went as follows. We would find a slave trader willing to sell one of us to the Lord. Once they had infiltrated, they would spread the word of the scheme to the other slaves, trying to get as many of them on board as possible. Finding a slave trader willing to cooperate was surprisingly easy. They are businessmen, and slaves their product.
While the majority didn't give a damn what happened to the slaves after they received payment, there were more than few who were displeased, knowing their precious wares were being squandered. Okay. Slaves are supposed to be long-term workers. They're not meant to be expendable. They require food and rest and some place of reasonable living conditions. It was far from a glamorous life, obviously, but more sensible slave owners at least had a vested interest in keeping their workers alive. However, that was far from the case with the Lord Barnier. Slaves were, of course, the property of whoever purchased them, and mere slave trader had no place complaining about how they were being treated. Yeah. They didn't mean the traders had to like it, though. And there was a small collective of them who staunchly refused to do business with the Lord, quietly mocking any who did. Nobody openly spoke ill of the Lord, let alone opposed him directly. Not only because this land was under his control, but because he was a madman, and everyone knew it. So they would help us get in, and nothing more. But that was fine. That was all we needed from them to put our plan into action. The vanguard of our operation, the one who could infiltrate the manor, was me. I volunteered for the position. I partially in the heat of the moment, but also because I was confident I could pull it off. Okay, why you were confident about this? Above all, though, I don't want to believe that I couldn't manage such a straightforward task. I had to step up and take initiative, or I would never escape this life, as a poor lowly slum-rat dweller. Crawling through the dirt, everyone, nobles and peasants alike, looking down on me, thinking I'm worthless. That would be me for my whole pathetic life. Like hell, I was going to let that happen. I wanted to claw my way up, as high as I could manage. I didn't want to surrender, to accept that I was powerless. I wanted to make something of my life, something of my one and only life. We chose the beginning of the Lord's next banquet for my infiltration, and that was when I saw the horror for myself, the abuse and torture he put slaves through. It was a goddamn blood banquet, yeah. Any mistake, no matter how small, will invade harsh discipline. Jesus, it's a torture chamber! That's like some kind of wheel? And there's a body hanging with like hands behind his back? Damn. If Barnier was in particularly foul mood that day, he would physically beat the wrongdoer. He had a particular fondness for activities that drew blood though. He would regularly gather together nobles with similar predilections in his manor. They are literally vampires, Jesus. Once a banquet began, it generally continued for around 2 weeks. What? That long? The first thing I did after infiltrating was spread the word of the plan to the other slaves. To be honest, I assumed it would be easy getting them to cooperate. They should have reviled Barnier more than anyone after all. They couldn't have been more wrong. Every ounce of willpower had been drained from them. They were malnourished, unrested, and violently oppressed. I could hardly have convinced them to swat a mosquito. Get them completely under his thumb. Everyone was utterly terrified to fight back against Barnier. They would just as soon take their own lives. Hardly a day in, the plan of this seems to have hit a wall, yeah. I mean, they've been like managed by terror and fear. So yeah. Like, it's really hard decision, I think. Like, they are of course like, they know that they will die if they will not do anything, but on the other hand, if they fail, that may be even worse waiting for them than just a blood sabbath. A full week I spent trying and failing to convince a single soul to assist in revolt. Just as I was beginning to fear it might not work after all. Oh! Who you dog? Slaveman, okay. Okay, we have some ripped off guy as a helper. He had a name in that book in the opening. I forgot what that was though. Come with me. He was a tall, muscular slave who spent most of his time doing physical labor. Despite the poor conditions, he seems to be keeping himself in rather good shape. And unlike other slaves, his eyes weren't filled with fear and resignation. But it wasn't hope I saw in them. Rather, they looked like the eyes of the bloodthirsty wolf. Well, we need that too, to take out Barnier. And his unkempt, greasy blonde hair only served as to amplify the primal impression he gave off. Between that and faint, cocky smirk visible on his lips, he more resembled the head of the gang of ruffians than a slave. I wasn't sure if it was entirely wise to accompany him anywhere, but against my better judgment, and with far too little information, I followed the man to the Great Hall. Okay. There were dozens or so nobles and upperclassmen and women clustered about the hall. Oh, is this like during one of the like parties, suburbs, and he's going to see Morgana here for the first time? The air was filled with the scent of the aromatic herbs, and it wasn't long before I realized they were meant to mask the smell of blood. Large tables lined with plates, stacked with piles of glistering dark red meat. Okay, I have a question. Are they cannibals? Are they eating their slaves? Huh? Noblemen sneered at us with wet lips as we entered the room. The contrast between nobles practiced graceful mannerism and the grotesque feasts of which they were partaking was bizarre. I simply stood there aghast. There was no room for anger to form. The Lord stood on a platform like a small stage at the far end of the room. Like, yeah, you can see like this guy is crazy as fuck. Yeah, just like lay him down. Also, yeah, chalice full of blood just spilling and he doesn't care. Like, oh, I hate him. Are you the slave who offered to be the day's entertainment? The boatman nodded, dropping down to one knee. What does he mean by entertainment? Sure, you've tried to merely inflicting pain on helpless slaves. Would you by chance be interested in something a little more exciting? What? Could you be any more disrespectful? Lord Barnier, you would do the best to rid yourself of barbarians such as him. There, give the poor man a break. You can expect an uneducated slave to be properly versed in the ways of polite society. Now, elaborate, slave. Me and him, we duel, right here, right now. Oh, we're going to beat the shit out of Jacopo. Okay. I did not expect that. So we're going to have like flat entertainment, but in terms of duel. What? I feel like you want to help us with like a revolution, not to beat us to death. Jesus, you cannot like... okay. Don't... Why did we trust this guy? Do you seriously think we haven't already pit slaves against each other numerous times by now? If that's all, tell me, were they as vigorous as the two of us? Young and jumping at the beat. Well, If you all want to see a couple half-dead slaves limply falling at each other, then help yourselves. But you're not gonna find many here who can give a fight with some real oomph, you know? Well, how the slaves here would probably kneel over with just a little shove. So I figured they might be up for a little change of pace. A barbarian like me. Whoa, 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 I never agreed to this. Suck it up, you're a slave. You're a slave. Since when have you had the right to agree to anything? You make a compelling argument. GRATIEN, was it? My lord knows my name, I'm honored. Okay. So, we don't like GRATIEN. Like, first slave that wants to talk with us, and we have hope that he will maybe join the revolutionary, and he's just here to just beat the shit out of us because he wants to have fun. Okay. Wasn't Morgana treating his wounds at some point? I mean, Jacopo was treating her wounds, but I think Morgana... No, Morgana was not able to. No, I think I'm... oh Jesus, I just realized he smiled. Fuck. Okay. I only remember because you came very highly recommended. The slave traders said you were a descendant from the line of warriors who made a name for themselves fighting in the ancient Colosseum. I'd assumed he was exaggerating. Perhaps there was some truth into it after all. Who can say? Couldn't tell you about my ancestors. But what I can tell you is that I love a good duel. Fought in the Colosseum, descendant from the gladiators? Am I supposed to go one-on-one against him? Well, guards, bring these two swords. Oh, we're going to fight actually with swords to death. Great! So, how does Jacopo survive? Are they going to stop them? Shit. What is he hoping to accomplish? Or maybe it's or maybe GRATIEN is actually not trying to murder us and just going to wound us? Okay. To win Barnier's favor? I guess I will have to hope I can catch him by surprise as soon as... Hey, kid, listen up. What? Eyes forward. And keep it down. Listen carefully. Don't get any wise ideas, got it? Just go along with it. Everything on the level. Okay, so GRATIEN actually has some kind of plan. It's not just he wants to have a duel with us and have fun. Interesting. What is this supposed to accomplish? Just go along with it. Okay. What are you scheming? We'll find out soon enough. Assuming you can handle a sword anyhow. The guards approached us, each carrying a long sword. It was heavier than I expected and felt awkward in my hands. Both of our blades were badly chipped, clearly old and battle-worn. Of course, they wouldn't give new quality weapons to a pair of slaves, but the sword was still a sword. Beaten though they may have been, I still had to be careful, or I would be dead before I ever got to the slave revolt of the ground. That said, I had survived this long in the slums. I wasn't completely helpless, but I had experience with a dagger. Oh, I wasn't sure how much that would help by now. Would be now. The long two-handed sword still felt awkward in my hands. As I squinted, the blade healed and adjusted my grip, trying to familiarize myself with the feel of it. Barnier took a seat, readying himself to spectate. Then I caught sight of what lay hidden. In the back of the stage. What? Okay, Morgana's there. Okay, I see. I stood there, staring agape, completely forgetting I was but moments from a duel that demanded twice my size. At the back of the stage was what looked like the altar, draped in a thick white sheet and stained red. Atop it sat a young girl, covered in gashes. Her head was dropped so I couldn't see her face, but judging from her size, I didn't think she would be more than 10 years of age. Some wounds were older and had already scrabbled over, Some were swollen, bright red protostrues on her pale skin. Some were oozing pus, and others were so fresh they were still bleeding. It was difficult to find a part of her body that wasn't cut. Hey, what do you think you're doing to that girl? I don't know. I don't care who you are. No one deserves that. Even as I shouted at the Lord, the girl remained motionless. She seems unconscious. Not dead yet, but it wouldn't be long. Silence, Kur. I don't recall giving you permission to speak. Or would you rather lose your head right now? Continue on as you are. Damned despot. Now, go on, get started. Give us a show befitting of this grand affair. Fighting my urge to snap back at him, I turned to face the slave named GRATIEN. The other guests lined the walls, whispering among themselves, speculating about the potential victor. Obviously everyone's going to bet on GRATIEN. I would. The crowd was so overwhelmingly in GRATIEN's favor, to absolutely no surprise. They didn't even bother taking the bets, yeah. Okay, trying to go down in one blow, kid. Hold on, what's the point of this? Yeah, I'm confused as well. Slowly, GRATIEN lowered his crouch, and the next second he leapt at me like a tiger. It was the audible whoosh. Before I had time to grasp, he was mere inches away. What choice do I have? I swung my sword, catching GRATIEN's blade mid the sand and opening in a parry. But there was far more weight in that strike than I had expected. The impact caused my hands to sting painfully and my knees to buckle. I clenched my teeth, trying at the very least to hold my ground. GRATIEN barely gave me the time to recover, let alone strike back, before launching into a second attack. He handled the longsword so effortlessly, swinging in through the air in such impressive perfect arcs that I could hardly believe we're both up on the same using the same weapon. I twisted out of the way, but not quite in time. The tip of his blade skimmed the skin on my neck. And then, not even giving me a chance to catch my balance, he thrust his blade at me. GRATIEN is pretty serious about this. If he's faking this is very, like, realistic faking. I managed to deflect the attack just in time. I wasn't able to follow through. Meanwhile, a wild, mocking smirk spread across GRATIEN's face. He seems to be having the time of his life. Or maybe he is just an asshole that wants to play with us. I'm so confused what's happening now. Come on, kid, you gotta have better than that if you wanna keep your head. I rattled off several insults in my head, but like him, I couldn't spare the energy to put them into words. Pick it up, boy. Wow. God damn it. That's all you got, kid? I thought you fared a little better. Shut your damn mouth. I was struck on the defensive, and with every strike he pushed me further and further back. I was almost up against the wall. And what he said, this was part of some plan. Or was he just trying to get me to let my guard down? Maybe, I'm not sure yet. I don't know what that's supposed to accomplish. He's conspiring with the Lord, he must be. Why challenging me to a duel at all? Did someone spill the word of the plan to him? Come on, give your best shot, boy. Yeah, this is very funny. You know damn well I'm barely managing it as it is. We could at least try. Don't wanna put our audience to sleep, now do we? Even the bones in my forearms are starting to sting. I don't know how much longer I can keep this up. Here, let me show you how it's done. God, I can't get a damage on him. Much more of this and I'll be up against the wall. I'm dead if I don't go to the offensive. Now is my last chance. Well, I've still got breathing room. Hey, big guy, you must think you have the advantage, but not for long. Ah, it's reach. Came from the guy who can't even get one swing on me. It was all the trick to get your guard down. I've been saving this one just for you, meathead. Good luck dodging it. You with that hulking body of yours. Now that's more like it. Let me have it, kid. I hop backwards a couple paces until my heel pressed up against the wall. Oh, smart. Using the wall as the like jumping point or the sprinting point to be faster. There was no backing down, not anymore. Breathing heavily, I lifted my blade, pointing at the GRATIEN. He pointed his in turn, a cocky grin plastered in his face. And then I kicked off the ground hard, sending me fly towards him. My sword held down near my waist. He's above his head. And then, whoosh. He whistled, his blade ripping through the air just over my head. The mere force of the gale created by his swing was so intense. For a brief moment I thought he might have knocked my head clean off my shoulders. But I was still breathing. And despite exhaustion, my mind was incredibly clear and focused. I hadn't swung up at him, but slid across the floor. The box wide open. I lurched at my feet, spinning around, and swung my sword at his neck with everything I had. What? But my would-be grand comeback was deflected from behind without the bat of an eye. Okay. And hardly wimpy deflect for that matter. My hands felt like they were on fire. A little bit on the dirty side that was, but hey, not all bad, kid. Damn it. Just a little more oomph to that swing and he might get landed it. The bat. I don't stand a chance against him head on, but he's not one to fall for the same trick twice. I need a new plan. Back against the wall with ya. Son of a... This is actually quite intense. I didn't expect it to have like actual description of fight in Fata Morgana. What's the matter, kid? Oh yeah, that's all you got? After all the talk, I was expecting a little more from ya. He got me completely under his thumb. I'm dead if I don't do something, but I can barely leave my arms anymore. It's getting harder to breathe. My vision going blurry. I can't die yet. Not here, not now, and not with this damn brute. By this damn brute. There has to be something, an opening, I'm not seeing anything. Some way to turn the tables. Am I imagining it? Or did I react to that quicker than usual? Oh? Is he doing what I think he's doing? Patterns were forming in my mind. I've been through this routine so many times now, my body instinctively knew what comes next. Interesting! Is there like some kind of like training routine that swordsman usually like goes through? And GRATIEN hopes that Jacopo went through this as well, he can figure it out, so GRATIEN wants to lose on purpose for some reason? And like in this way, like noblemans don't know like probably the sword fights styles and like training routines and stuff, so in their eyes it's going to look like serious duel basically, even though it's like a training routine. And Jacopo, knowing this, can like actually beat GRATIEN because he knows what's the next strike will be. Interesting. They faking the like lose of GRATIEN for some reason. Huh. I'd parried his strike entirely by reflex. I wasn't so full of myself to think as it was a sign I was gaining the upper hand. As much as I love to admit it, yet he had every imaginable advantage over me. I should have realized what he was doing sooner, but I'd been so focused on keeping my head attached to my sword, and my sword my hands, that I didn't have those her mental capacity to see beyond that. He was in complete control. The only reason I was able to keep up with him was because he was letting me. Because he was repeating the same sequence of attacks again and again. Okay, so maybe not training routine, but he's been doing the same thing over and over. So anyway, like, yeah, that would look serious, but also from someone who can fight or have some knowledge in fighting would like figure it out. If I'm right, next will come from above. Oh, right on the money. A clank, like the pealing of the bell echoed through the hall of our blades collided. It was much cleaner, more satisfying sound than they had made when I was struggling to keep up. I still don't know what he's scheming, I have no idea too. But I'm not going to throw away this chance to win back some ground. Sparks flew with each clash of our swords. And Gratien's smirk grew wider. Yeah, he's happy that Jacopo figured out. I could hear murmuring bubble up in the gallery as the tides turned. Cheering, cursing, confused gasps. Before long the sound seemed to grow distant, with just me and Gratien, in a bubble of silence. Not even the sound of metal striking, my heavy breathing, the stomping of our feet, the distinctly loud pounding of my heart, the blood pumping through my veins. It all wisped away into nothing. Every one of my senses were focused on exactly two things: the image of our sword cutting clear arcs through the air, and Gratien's intent. That's it, next overhead. He whispered, so quietly that by other rights I could have never heard it, but his intentions came through clear and clear. As if being controlled by that voice, I swung my sword down. After about a half dozen clashes, we locked blades, and a brief shoving match before putting the distance between each other. Did you talk during this shoving? A little bit? And then went at it again. The audience, it would look like we had a fierce battle to death, but I felt more like we were dancing than anything. Well, he was dancing, I was merely following his lead. But if that was his plan, whatever his plan was, I had no choice but to dance to his beat. The only thing improvisation would get me in a sword through the heart. The only thing improvisation would get me is a sword through the heart. Okay. Meanwhile, sticking to the plan, I had nothing to worry about. No reason to fear his sword might get off course. After several more fierce clashes, we're getting close again. We both breathing pretty heavily by that point. I was drenched in sweat, and it felt like I'd collapse right then and there if I loosened up for even a second. Gratien tossed us a glance of the side for the briefest of moments. His lips came together, curling up into a smile. Snap. 3 paces back, then charge. Oh wait, oh, I think I know what's happening. Wait, is he like position himself and Jacopo in a way like, because it sounds like just charge at me, right? So he's going to dodge and Jacopo is like going to stab the Lord? Like this is his plan? What? That would be awful actually. I mean good because Lord would die, but that's hardly a revolution. Swing down as hard as you can. Put everything you've got into it. Okay. Or maybe not charge, but like not like stab, but like actually swing. So maybe he's not aiming for Lord. So as I signal my acknowledgement, Gratien parted my sword off to the side. 1, 2, 3 paces back. Then I gathered my strength into my legs. I crouched like he had at the beginning of the duel, and envisioned myself as a tiger ready to pounce. And they will leave each other in perfect sync. What? The harsh sound of metal, striking metal, more piercing than anything else up to that point. For a heartbeat, the world went white. The whoosh, of something creeping through the air. It wasn't for another second or two that I realized what happened. Breathing heavily, I looked down at the sword in my hands, only to find half of it missing. Oh! Gratien blade appeared to have snapped as well. The gallery began buzzing. Are you alright? How dreadfully dangerous. Huh! Ah. A perverse grin spread across Gratien's lips. I finally understood what he's been scheming. He wanted the swords to break, and he wanted it to look like an accident, hoping that when the shattered blade went flying, a noble or two would be caught in the crossfire. Jesus! Okay, he just wanted to kill some nobles. And that would be an accident. Wow. Are you serious? Okay. That explained the whole song and dance, where you had us hitting each other blades in the same spots again and again. But how the hell would you even expect that to work? Yeah, he probably have a lot of experience. I mean, he's been like gladiator or something, right? That said, if the fight had gone on much longer, I don't think I would have lasted. This plan seems to have gone about as well as you could reasonably expect. One piece landed near Bernier, and the other embedded in the table. Okay, so we almost got Bernier out. Without, like, actually personally killing him. That's fine by me. I'd rather avoid causing any more of the scene before the actual revolt. No, that I would be opposed of seeing any of those madmen squirt. Gratien wiped the sweat from his brow with the back of his hand and surveyed the room. As obviously outclassed as he was by all the nobles, he still seems very much larger than anyone else in the room. He took a few moments to catch his breath, then sauntered over the center of the great hall, taking another good look around the room before saying, "Apologies for the disturbance, my lord. While ordinary is a duel supposed and with someone's dead, it looks like that's out of the question today. So mayhap we can reschedule, put on another show in a day or two, if you would like." Huh. Barney seems less than pleased with the outcome, but considering how rattled his guests were, he couldn't press the matter either. "Very well. Now I believe you do deserve a reward for such a fine show." "Oh? What kind of reward?" "One I'm sure you'll be quite pleased with." "Okay." I'm terrified by his facial expressions. "The leftovers from today's feast." "Okay." "Gourmet cuisine, like the likes of which you mere slaves could only dream of getting your dirty hands on." "You mean those bleeding scraps of mystery meat?" "Huh, why not? There's pork in there. Or does your religion prohibit you eating pig?" "Nah, I gave up on the religion long ago. I'm fine eating meat. Most meat anyway." Yeah, like, I've been concerned about the same as Gratien. Like, are they cannibals? Also, he said there's pork too, right? There's pork in there. Okay, so all of this is pork apparently. Okay, never mind. I will have the other slaves bring him down this evening then. Now then, show's over. Be gone with you. Gone will be, my lord. I was concerned about this girl, but there's nothing I can do for her right now. Hopefully she lasts long enough for the revolt, but with wounds like that... Hey kid, pick up your beat ass up and let's get out of here. I'm not beat, thank you very much. What are you trying to fool where you're whizzing up along? Getting huffy about it only makes you look more pathetic. Piss off, you inhuman monster. Now, do you have a wonderful day, ladies and gents? Okay, we do like Gratien actually. We actually do like Gratien. Once we were out in the hall and in the corridor, I took several deep breaths. Finally letting loose some of the tension that had built up within me. Yeah, that's been intense. That's been a very intense episode. So, very intense first episode. I will see you in the next one. Thank you everyone for being with me. Thank you for watching. And yeah, that's the first episode of Requiem for Innocence. We're going to get backstory for Jacopo and Morgana. We're getting new characters. Like, Gratien plan been insane. Like, he's going to help us with the revolt probably, but his idea of just like randomly kill just some nobles in the accident, that was smart as hell. And like, to be honest, like none of the slaves that were like here would let him achieve this before. Jacopo is the only one who could do this. So he's been probably waiting for this opportunity for a while. So maybe as the thanks for letting him like actually try this out, he will like help us with the revolution. But yeah, like Morgana CG in that room is just... oh, we never got to see that before. That's so horrible. But yeah, that's it for this episode. Thank you everyone for being with me. Leave up a like if you liked the episode, subscribe for more, check my Discord, and become a member if you'd like to support me and see these episodes earlier. Thank you once again, and for a Pocket Watch, it's going out.